Hey everybody, it's Sha Blackburn, the LoonWitch, and it is the first Friday of the month. Welcome to Tarot Chat and Munch. It's Friday, September 3rd. I had to look at the calendar. 2021. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about furthering our work with how to do tarot readings. So one of the most popular spreads is the Celtic Cross spread. And this spread is comprised of 10 cards. It's the spread that when you get the little booklet in every tarot deck, they always feature that spread. And I'm going to start with you. This month, we're going to take that spread and we're going to break it down. So we're going to start looking at the Celtic Cross spread from the 6-card simple cross. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And okay, so as I'm sharing my screen with you, you can see that this is our 6-card simple cross layout. Next month, we're going to talk about adding the other 4 cards to make this a complete Celtic cross. But I really want you to get started understanding how spreads kind of work and how you can take the spread, pick it apart, create those conversations, and get what you need as a reader from the spread. So the first card number 1, is what gets laid down first. And this is the card that covers you. It is your current situation. So if you're the questioner or the querent, right, getting a reading, this first card represents who you are in this moment. It's a lot of information for one little card, but remember, every image is worth 1,000 words, right? So we have card number 1, 1,000 words about the client. Card number 2, we lay this card so that it is top to bottom. All right, and so we're laying this card more horizontally instead of vertically. Card number 2 is what crosses you. So this is the card that's going to help or hinder a situation that you have going on. For example, let's say you have the 2 of Cups card is card number 1. So the 2 of Cups is that ideal romantic partnership. It's a great love. It shows that there's intimacy in the partnership there. I often call it my ideal mate card. I always yawn when I do this. Don't know why. Anyway, so you have your ideal mate card, and what's crossing that is, let's say, the 3 of Swords. So remember, the 3 of Swords is that bleeding heart, where you've got those two swords are crossed going through the heart, and then there's one sword coming down through the middle. And a lot of times that's the card of grieving, it's loss, it is divorce, it's a lot of things. So if you look at the conversation between card number 1 and card number 2 in that situation, what would you say about that conversation? Is card number 2 helping or hindering that ideal mate relationship that you have going on? So you see how we start automatically just creating these conversations. Once you put those 2 cards down, you're going to move down to card number 3. So now we're creating a circle of cards around this initial conversation. Card number 3 is what is beneath you. It's in the recent past. It's 1 to 2, maybe 3 months out from where you are today. And then card number 4 is what's behind you. So this is your foundation. This is really the card that shows us what personality traits you have, what childhood influences you have, what lifelong influences you have that got you to this point. And it can go all the way back to childhood. Card number 5, this is what crowns you. This is a hope, a goal, a worry, a fear, a wish. It's the thing that's most on your mind in this moment. You would kind of think card number 1, being the first card out, is what's most on the person's mind. However, we know that card number one is the current situation. So it takes us some time, just like coaxing a conversation with somebody, it takes us some time to get to the idea, what's your question? What is it that's most on your mind, whether it's something good, some kind of blessing, excuse me, or some kind of challenge or an obstacle. So we take a look at what card number 5 has to say, and then we look at card number 6. So card number 6 is what's before you. It's your near future. This is what's coming up in the next 1 to 3 months, okay? So when you start to look at all of these cards laid out here, this simple cross layout, when you're dealing with the Celtic cross, like we will next month, this simple cross layout can give you the foundational question that the person has come to you with. So this is the foundation of a good reading. This is the way that we determine what is it that the person's really looking for. And if you are a client or a querent, the questioner, and you're coming to get a reading, and in your mind, you're thinking, I'm here to talk about my financial well-being. I'm here to talk about, should I sell my house or not? And only to find out that you're talking about romance, friendships, family keeps coming up in these cards. What that means is that what's really on your mind is the family situation, is the relationship situation. Even though you were thinking about, should I not sell my house? Ultimately, that decision gets put on the back burner, or that question gets put on the back burner, because we really have to deal with the rest of this decision. Like, what is it that you really are thinking about? And what you're thinking about, what you think you're thinking about are often two different things when it comes to the tarot. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. I just want to take a minute and hope that you are working with your cards. I just want to take a quick minute, and I want to look up some reading images that I have to share. So it just takes me a moment, and sorry, I should have pulled this up earlier. But if you were taking a class live with me, this is legitimately how I am. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm just that way. So we're gonna look at let's see. I'm gonna pull up this reading so I can share my screen again. I have a couple, but let's look at what this image has to. Ooh, I can select multiple things. So we're going to select these two. Now it said I could select two things, but I only see one thing on the screen. So this image is an image of a Celtic cross reading. See, it has the 10 cards. These first 6 cards is what we're going to focus on this month. We're going to look at the conversation between the Empress and, let's get in a little closer to see, the Empress and the 7 of Swords. What is the Empress and the 7 of Swords going to talk about? The 7 of Swords, that's the first card out. So you really need to dig into what that card represents, how it represents a person in this current moment. And if you were the 7 of Swords right now, what would be going through your mind? Do you feel that the Empress is helping or hindering that 7 of Swords? Okay. How did we immediately get into the 7 of Swords? Well, we got into it because the 2 of Pentacles is what's below us, right? It's what's beneath us. This is our recent past. So obviously, when you start now piecing together these 3 cards, you can see the 7 of Swords is someone that's manipulative. It's someone, sometimes they're in a situation where they need to be manipulative, especially when you start looking around at these cards and you can see that there's some money troubles going on here, right? Our recent past, that Two of Pentacles, well, maybe maybe we were overspending. We weren't paying attention to what we were spending. We weren't paying attention to the balance in our bank account, things that were coming out, whether we had agreed to have them direct debited or whether they were being taken, you don't know. But the thing is in the recent past, we were spending beyond our means, living beyond our means. And the foundation card here, right? The distant past, well, we grew up with that feeling of not enough money, that feeling of being broke or broken. And also this card can represent like feeling that you don't deserve to be abundant, that you don't deserve to be happy, that this is kind of your lot in life. And it's ironic because the Empress represents abundance. She's Mother Nature, right? She represents abundance, prosperity, fertility, and we know this about her. So now we need to beg the question again, is she helping or is she hindering that Seven of Swords? If the Seven of Swords is like, I'm mailing out checks with no signature, or I'm mailing out checks with no date, or I'm not paying my bills on time or anything like that. Well, what would she be coming to tell you? You're lying to the powers that be, putting off the powers that be, just kind of being a little cagey and manipulative. What would the Empress be telling you about that? And it's easy to see why we would jump to that assumption when we see that these two cards in our past represent financial hardship in some way. But what's on our mind the most, right? So on your mind the most is that Three of Pentacles, the idea that we could get an education, we could pay more attention, we could fine tune those skills with the money, and we could be okay, right? And then your final outcome here, or your near future in these 6 cards, is the Knight of Swords. Well, the Knight of Swords, a lot of times he represents somebody that is a judge, a police officer, a lawyer. I wouldn't say judge really, because the knight is a bit too young for judgy. But he's fearless. He's a go-getter. He's somebody that is going to help communicate on our behalf, right? So one of the things that we may see here is that we might need to employ somebody to help us. We might need to gather our forces, gather our friends, gather those people willing to support us together and see what we can do to get someone to advocate for us. And a lot of times that's a good Knight of Swords cards. He's a bit of an advocate. He is all about justice and fighting for what's right. So if you are genuine, and that Seven of Swords is not your consistent character, it's just character for this moment, then that Knight of Swords is going to be there to help you. So that is our 6-card cross. Now, if I pull this out, I think because I selected it, you'd be able to see it. I don't have the ability to pull them out side by side so that you can see, but I just wanted to remind you, 7 of Swords, Empress, 2 of Pentacles, 5 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, and card 6 is, again, our Knight of Swords. So take some time, look at those 6 cards, look at the way this spread lays itself out, and make some notes about, what do you think the question is? What do you think this person is really wondering about? Go back to the image and I'll scroll out so you can see the whole thing. Next month, we're going to add in these 4 cards. If you want to investigate the Celtic Cross a little bit more, it comes in the packaging with all of the tarot decks. So it's in the little pamphlet that you have, even though I told you not to use the pamphlet. That's what I tell all of my students. I'm going to give you permission, because these are little free one-off classes, to go ahead and use the pamphlet, take a look at that Celtic Cross spread. But I want you to spend some time this month doing readings for yourself, doing readings for the news. Use that 6-card spread. Another way that you can take a look at the 6-card spread is by breaking it into 2 different 3-card spreads. So if it's 2 different 3-card spreads, then cards 1, 3, and 5. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm not sorry. 1, 3, and 5 is 1 3-card spread, and cards 2, 4, and 6 is your second 3-card spread. So you can kind of look at them that way until you get your feet wet and get a feel for how the 6-card plays out. But to build your stories, it's really important that you're making those conversations happen with the cards. All right, so let me stop sharing my screen now. Come back to my smiling face. So here I am again. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to sneeze. That was me sneezing. It's fall, not yet. But it is hurricane season, so stay safe wherever you are and be well. And I'll see you next month where we're going to dig in a little bit more. We'll talk about the full Celtic cross. We'll add the 4 cards, and I'll show you how to analyze that spread so that you get the gist of all of the conversations as they're taking place within the cards. All right. And my last little plug is that if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, feel free to join the Enchanted Forest Spiritual Wellness Center Mighty Network. That's our free online community. And you can watch all the past episodes of Tarot Chat and Munch on our Tarot Study Group Circle. So that is Enchanted Forest, SWC.com to join. And it's in the link will be in the blurb about the video. And if you're already a member of the Tarot Study Group Circle, I hope that you're keeping up, doing some homework, and that your work is coming along nicely. Tune in next month, first Friday of every month from 12 o'clock to about 12:30 for the Tarot Chat and Munch. That's when the videos go live. And I'll see you then. Meanwhile, feel free to check out the other circles on our Mighty Network. If you're looking to get a reading with me, you know, I'm by appointment only. We have other gnomes in the forest. I'm looking around like there might be other people here today, but there aren't. But we have other gnomes in the forest that also offer different readings and services. We have Jill Hillary, who does mediumship and angel readings. We have Jenna Green, who does rune readings, oracle readings. She does massage. She also creates song spells and empowerment chants with you. And we have Cinda Flynn, who is Persephone's Garden. She comes in and offers readings through the tarot and oracles as well. So I hope that you'll check them all out, and I will see you soon. Be well, everyone.